You do brilliant work. You deliver exceptional results. You solve complex problems. You're reliable. You show up. You over-deliver. And you wait for people to notice. You think, my work should speak for itself. But it doesn't. Someone else gets the promotion. Someone else gets the credit for your idea. Someone else gets the visibility. And you're confused because you thought excellent was enough. My lovely, lean in and listen up. The truth bomb is being excellent is necessary, but being visible is what creates opportunity. And right now, you're invisible by choice. But here's what neuroscience reveals. Decision makers don't remember what they don't see. And the moment you become strategically visible, everything changes. Welcome back, my lovely. I'm Sue-Ann Higgins, and this is the Strategic Leader Within podcast. Over the past 3 weeks, we've tackled concise communication, diplomatic pause, and audience mastery. You've learned how to distill your message, how to regulate under pressure, and how to read the room and ask better questions. This week, we're exploring something that might feel a bit uncomfortable at first, something that doesn't come naturally to many high-achieving women leaders. It's called strategic lobbying. And here's the trap. You do brilliant work, you deliver exceptional results, you solve the complex problems, you're reliable, you show up and you over-deliver. And you wait for people to notice. You think my work should speak for itself. But it doesn't. Someone else gets that promotion. Someone else gets the credit for your ideas. Someone else gets the visibility. And you're confused because you thought excellence was enough. Excellence buys you a seat at the table. But visibility is what gets you opportunity. This isn't about self-promotion. This isn't about you being loud or pushy or making all about you. This is about strategic clarity, making sure decision makers understand your value before they make decisions about your future. And it requires that something that doesn't come naturally to me. It requires you to lobby for yourself, to advocate for yourself, strategically, intentionally, before you make the ask. This week, we're learning exactly how to do that. And by the end of the episode, you'll understand that strategic lobbying isn't self-promotion, it's leadership. Before we go any further, I want you to understand something, the visibility paradox. And it's at the heart of why many brilliant women leaders remain invisible. The visibility paradox is the harder you work, the more invisible you become. This sounds counterintuitive, but it's actually what's happening. When you focus exclusively on delivering results, when you put your head down to do the excellent work, you position yourself as the reliable executor, not the strategic leader. Decision makers have a cognitive load. They can't track everyone's contributions. They can't see every brilliant idea. They're managing competing priorities and have limited attention. So they may be making the decision on what's visible to them, not what's true, what's visible. If you're not making your strategic thinking visible, they don't know you're strategic. If you're not sharing your wins, they don't know you're winning. If you're not in conversations where decisions are made, you're not part of the decision. This is the visibility paradox. You're working hard, delivering results and becoming less visible for promotion, less visible for opportunities, less visible for the strategic roles that would actually leverage your capabilities. The women I work with who break through this paradox do one thing different. They lobby for themselves before they need something. So let's just hop quickly into the Leader Within Savviness ladder. If you haven't already downloaded it, the link is in the show notes. This will help you identify what rung you're on for strategic lobbying. If you're at rung 1 or 2, you don't see the pattern. You just work hard, you assume recognition follows. You're not aware yet that strategic visibility requires intention. If you're at rung 3 or 4, you know that you should self-promote, but it feels uncomfortable. You avoid visibility. You feel like it's bragging or inauthentic. If you're at rung 5 and 6, you do share your wins, but it's inconsistent. Sometimes you're visible, sometimes you're invisible. You haven't yet built the habit. If you're on rung 7 or 8, you're strategically positioning yourself. Your visibility is intentional. You know you're known for your thinking and you're known for your contributions. If you're at rung 9 or 10, opportunities find you because you've already built the foundation. You're known, you're trusted, and you're the obvious choice. So which rung are you on for strategic lobbying? Be honest. This tells you exactly where to start. Let me paint a picture across 3 scenarios so that you can see what it looks like at those different rungs. If you're on rung 2 or 3, let's call it the silent deliverer. Mary is brilliant. Every project she touches, she delivers exceptional results. Her analysis is solid, her recommendations are sound, her execution is flawless. But she keeps her head down. She never mentions her wins. She assumes excellence speaks for itself or that her boss will advocate for her. Promotion opportunities come up. It's a role that Mary would love and be perfect for. It would leverage her capabilities and it would be the next step in her career. Mary hopes she'll be considered. Her director doesn't think of her. She thinks of James instead, who's been talking about his wins all year. He thinks of Sarah, who's been in strategic meetings, highlighting her thinking. Mary gets passed over. Later, is frustrated. I'm more talented than James. I deliver better results than Sarah. That might be true, but decision makers didn't know that because Mary never made it visible. Rung 5 or 6, Mary is now the strategic sharer. Mary does excellent work and she strategically shares her wins. She sends a monthly impact update to her director highlighting 3 things she accomplished that month. She contributes conversations outside her existing role. She shares her strategic thinking. She makes sure key stakeholders know what she's working on. When promotion opportunities come up, her director immediately thinks of Mary. She's visible, she's intentional, she's known, and Mary gets the promotion. Rung 8 is Mary, the obvious choice. Mary has spent a year or so building relationships with key stakeholders. She shares her strategic thinking. She contributes to conversations. She herself as a leader to watch. When an opportunity emerges, one that Mary hasn't formally applied for, multiple people recommend her. She's already the obvious choice. Mary didn't have to lobby for the opportunity. The foundation was already laid. Now let's talk about how to actually apply this. I work with 2 power moves here. The first is Power Move 101, lobby before the ask. This is a new power move, so let me define it clearly. Strategic lobbying is having the right conversations at the right time with the right people before you make your ask. Your ask might be a promotion, it might be buy-in to initiative, it might be support for a goal. Whatever it is, you're building a foundation before you ask. Here's how it works. 6 months before the ask, you plant a seed. You have strategic conversations with key stakeholders. You share your strategic thinking. You contribute to conversations that are aligned with where you want to go. You're not talking about promotion yet. You're just being visible in that space. 3 months before, you build momentum. You deliver wins aligned with that level. You get stakeholders invested in your success. They start seeing you in that role naturally. 1 month before, you create intentional visibility. You position your ask as a natural evolution of what's already been happening, not a surprise request, a logical next step. When you ask, it feels inevitable, not because you demanded it, because you've already wired their brain to see you as that strategic thinker. Now, let's look at how you can use the next power move, the win story framework, because it feels a bit awkward when you start talking about wins. A win story has 3 parts. Part 1 is, what challenge did you solve? Be specific, not I solved a problem. More like, we faced a situation where the database migration was at risk of derailing the timeline. Part 2, what was the impact? What changed because you solved it? By identifying the constraints early and redesigning the rollout, we delivered on time and under budget. Part 3, how does this connect to where you want to go? This is the crucial bit. This project required the exact kind of strategic thinking and stakeholder coordination that will be essential in the role I'm working toward. This isn't bragging, it's strategic clarity. So that's the framework for the win story. This relates to the Power Move 56, send a win story. Here's how it works. Every week, identify one win, not perfect, just real. Write it in the 3 sentences using the win story framework I just talked about. You'll send it to a key stakeholder in contents. Not, here's a win story, more like, I thought you'd appreciate how we approached the challenge this week we faced, and you write the situation. We solved it by the action, and the impact was the result. This does 3 things. First, it keeps you visible. Second, it pre-wires their brain. They're starting to see you in a certain way. Third, it's natural and authentic. You're not being self-promotional. You're sharing what you accomplished in a way that's relevant to them. Here's something important that many high-achieving women don't want to hear. Being excellent isn't enough. Being hardworking isn't enough. Being reliable isn't enough. You have to be visible. And strategic visibility requires intention. It requires you to talk about your work, that you share your wins, that you contribute to conversations where decisions are made. It makes you strategic. So here's my coaching question. What conversations do you need to have now to make my ask inevitable later? Not 6 months from now, now. Who are the key stakeholders for the role or opportunity you want? What conversations could you have this month to plant the seed? Here's what I want you to do this week. Step 1 is identify your ask. What do you actually want? A promotion, project leadership, a secondment, resource approval? Be clear. Step 2, work backwards 6 months. If you want something to happen in 6 months, what needs to happen now? Step 3 is to identify 3 key stakeholders. Who influences the decision about your ask? Your boss, her boss, key peers? Write them down. Step 4, plan strategic conversations with each, not conversations about your promotion. Conversations about strategic thinking aligned with where you want to go. When can you grab coffee with each of them this month? Step 5 is identify 2 or 3 wins. Write them down using the win story framework. Who should know about these wins? Step 6, send a win story this week. Not to everyone, to one of the key stakeholders in context. Start with, I thought you might appreciate this, and there may be some lessons in here for other projects. Now, as always, I'm going to give you some AI prompts that you can use within M365 Copilot or within ChatGPT. It can be used in whatever AI tool that's approved by your organisation. I'll get to those in a minute. If you're an insider of the Leader Within Blueprint, you'll have access to the Spotlight Shaper, and this will analyse without you having to do much other than upload or reminder of your Leader Within profile. It will analyse your strategic positioning, what you want to be known for, your stakeholder ecosystem, who influences those decisions, and the visibility gaps where you're not getting credit. It will then build you a visibility roadmap. For those that aren't an insider yet, I'd love to see you in there, but here's the prompt that you can use, as I said, in your preferred organisation approved AI tool if it's on their laptop. So you will need the Leader Within Savviness ladder. The link's in the show notes below. And the prompt is also in the show notes, so you can copy and paste the prompt. It's going to say, I just listened to a podcast episode about strategic lobbying. The power moves I learnt were 101, lobby before the ask, and 56, send a win story. Based on the Leader Within method, I believe I'm on rung, and then state your rung on the savviness ladder. Explain the situation. For example, I do great work, but nobody knows about it, and I'm overlooked for opportunities. Then you continue and ask, can you help me? 1, confirm what rung typically looks like for strategic lobbying. 2, give me 3 specific win stories I can send in the next 2 weeks to build visibility with, and then name your stakeholders. 3, create strategic lobbying timeline for my specific ask, and then you describe what ask that you're going to do within 6 months. And 4, explain what strategic lobbying would look like if I'm on the higher rung. Keep a conversational active, not generic advice. As I said, it's in the show notes. Go there now, copy and paste it into your AI, and you'll get tailored support for the specific ask and the specific stakeholders. Let me tell you about Sarah. That's not a real name. For client confidentiality, we'll just call her Sarah. She's a brilliant project manager, and I coached the real Sarah about 18 months ago. She delivers exceptional results. Every project she led came in on time and under budget. Her team respected her, her stakeholders were happy, and she was doing excellent work. But she was waiting for people to notice. Sarah had been at the same level for 4 years and wanted a promotion. She thought, my work would speak for itself. I'm good enough. If I'm good enough, someone else will notice. Sarah was on rung 2 or 3 of the savviness ladder for strategic lobbying. She knew she should self-promote, but it felt uncomfortable, inauthentic, so she didn't. When Sarah came to me, she was frustrated. She'd had one conversation with her manager about promotion, and it didn't go anywhere. Her manager didn't see that she was ready for the next level. But here's what was really happening. Her manager didn't know what Sarah had actually accomplished. She hadn't really understood the cross-functional relationships that Sarah built to deliver results. She didn't know about the strategic thinking Sarah had contributed because Sarah hadn't made it visible. So we worked on Power Move 101, Lobby Before the Ask. We identified Sarah's ask. She wanted to be promoted to senior project manager within 12 months. We identified 3 key stakeholders, her manager, her manager's manager, and the director or head of operations. We worked backwards. What conversations need to happen? What wins needed to be visible? Sarah committed to 1 strategic conversation a month with each stakeholder, not about promotion, about strategic thinking and about delivery excellence, about vision. And we worked on Power Move 56, which is the send a win story. Every week, Sarah identified 1 win she would send to a key stakeholder. such as we faced a situation when the vendor timeline was risky. By restructuring the rollout, we delivered on time. The kind of strategic thinking is essential for successful delivery of this project. Within 3 months, Sarah was at rung 5 or 6 on the ladder for strategic lobbying. Her visibility had increased. People were starting to see her as strategic. Within 6 months, her manager approached her. Sarah didn't need to approach the manager. Her manager was approaching Sarah for a promotion, not because she suddenly became capable, she was already really capable, but because she became visible, because her strategic thinking was known, because the foundations were laid. Sarah got promoted. Sarah wasn't being inauthentic, she wasn't being pushy, she was just being strategically visible. She was letting people know what she had accomplished. That, my lovely, is the power of strategic lobbying. Now, some of you are listening will be thinking, you understand strategic lobbying intellectually, but the idea of talking about my accomplishments feels so uncomfortable. I feel like I'm bragging. I just can't do it. That's exactly what the Leader Within assessment addresses. For 67 Australian dollars, you'll get a personalised video coaching session with me. In that session, I'll uncover what's uncomfortable. Is it perfectionism? Is it people pleasing? Is it imposter syndrome? And I'll give you a power move blueprint tailored to shift that belief. You'll also get access to our next group coaching cohort, the Leader Within Collective, so that you have support by other women navigating that same discomfort. Don't worry, you don't need to show up online or schedule a thing in. This is through a tool I use called Video Ask. You do the assessment immediately, and within 48 hours, I send you your power move and a recorded video with some further coaching sessions, and we go back and forth for about 7 days. You'll have coaching support. But for now, start with Power Move 101 and Power Move 56. Identify your ask, plan your conversations, and start sending a win story this week. As we wrap up, my lovely, remember this. Strategic visibility isn't self-promotion. It's strategic clarity about your value. It's letting decision makers know what you're capable of before they need to decide about your future. Excellence is necessary, but visibility is what creates opportunity. You're only one reconstructed thought away from the breakthrough you deserve. And sometimes that thought is, my accomplishments deserve to be known, and it's my responsibility to make them visible. Thank you for being here, for being willing to step into visibility strategically. A quick reminder, this week, identify 3 stakeholders and plan 1 strategic conversation and send that win story. Your work is valuable, your thinking is strategic, your contributions matter, and the world needs to know that. Until next episode, lead with visibility and intention. Lead with clarity, passion, and purpose.